Hey traders, welcome to the first paper trading session number 1. So what this series is going to be is we're going to be paper trading, not using real money, back testing our strategy using the replay button in order to trade the price action that's already taken place for different alts as well as BTC. I will be looking at the live charts here as well a little bit from time to time because I do want to ensure that I have a good handle on what's happening with the current market, but overall we are going to be using the replay and just randomly kind of picking a time where we think that some potential action could be taking place. Obviously, we know which way the overall direction is going to be, but we still are only going to use the daily time frame to look at where we could potentially actually trade, and then we'll be mainly looking at the 1 hour and 4 hour candle for our execution time frame. So we're not going to be using the daily, we'll be using the smaller time frames to pinpoint exactly where we want to be entering and exiting within the market. So without further ado, let's get started on this week's pair, ETC paired with USDT. And we just picked a random point there on the chart for us to start off with, and then what we will be doing is using the 4 hour and 1 hour time frame in order to base our analysis and to trade to try to make profits within the market, so you guys can have a good understanding of how we trade and how we use our technical analysis using our key zones of supply and demand in order to try to capture profits within the market while being able to manage risk pretty tight. So without further intro or anything, let's just get right started with our analysis. So looking just from the daily, we want to identify our major key zones of horizontal support and resistance. At the first thing we want to see, the first thing we do see is this zone of support right here. We can clearly identify that as a key level of resistance, which is now going to be our new level of support. We have the low right here. We got the low right there, so we got our mid-range zone, our demand zone, and then now we are going to put our supply zone, which it looks like is going to be around right here. So that is the 3 zones that we're going to work with right now. It does look like a big double bottom at the first top right there, and that's all we have for the charts right now. And let's just jump right into the 4 hour chart. So looking at the 4 hour, what we can see is we have broken above a key major level here. Let's get our snip and just talk about the flow of the price action. Let's just make that white because I was talking about a white chart before. So we got a key level of resistance all along here that is now turning into a new level of support. So previous level of resistance, new level of support. That's currently what we are working with within the 4 hour chart. We see that the price is making lower lows and lower highs. This is a high, this is a lower high, this is a low, this is a lower low. So we're making a breakdown from the move to the upside now to a pullback, potentially validating this zone as a new level of support. And that's what we are seeing on the overall time frame. So we can now jump into this smaller time frame and see this little consolidation a little bit closer. Zooming now to the 1 hour chart, we are getting a nice consolidation down. Let's get that picture again. So we're seeing a nice consolidation. This is a high, this is a lower high, and this looks like it's going to be a lower high, and we're seeing a low, a lower low, and we could see that nice lower low come in. We see a horizontal zone, previous level of support, new level of resistance. And let's just draw that in right now within our rectangle right there. So we see a nice step pattern appear, and we could see that nice lower low appear, and then we could get a nice short from the break and then retest to another short here. So right now we're not going to be doing anything from where we zoomed in. We see that a short just recently broke out right there, a nice squeeze closer to the apex of the pattern, and then we're getting a squeeze now just within the structure, which is right here, and then we're seeing a drop to our new level of demand, and we'll just make this green because it's a key level of demand, and then we'll just we'll make this one red because it's a key level of supply. So we're now just playing within our key demand and supply zone, and that's what we're currently working with right now. And we just broke this below, so we could be looking for shorts at this point, but right now we are just holding in between zones here, looking for shorts because we want to test this demand zone, which is our major key level within the chart. So let's play this and continue it along, and we're just going to go candle by candle and see what we're able to identify. If we do see the price come back up to this level here, I think that could be a good short potential move to the downside, but for now we're just going to not really do anything and sit on our hands unless we see the price come up and test a high there, but if we don't see that happen, then we just will not enter. Seeing quite the rejection from the sellers there. We're seeing the price come back up. So we see the rejection off this zone. We're seeing the price come up on the hour chart. We see a lot of wicks on the top there. Just looking at minor levels of resistance. We don't see a whole lot we could work with. We see this small zone right there. But overall, I'm not looking for any major shorts at this point, although I am looking for more short bias at this current price action. So this is still making a higher low, so we don't see that bearish action come yet. This is still making that higher low. So the price is still just consolidating, not doing a whole lot. We can move this all the way down to here. But for now, we're just going to continue on. We don't really need to be doing much at this point in time. If we see the price come up to this zone here, that could be a good potential short. But for now, we're just seeing what the price action is doing. Not going to enter at this point. Still seeing the higher highs. We can see that right here. Higher highs still forming like so. I think that trade is that ascending trend line is now done, and now we're just holding this zone. And we could potentially see this little squeeze appear kind of like here. So we have a nice little descending zone that the price could now follow below the area. So then we have a squeezing of the price. And I'll just move this a little bit down here. And what I'll do is well, we could potentially actually move this down here and then put this a little bit higher up. So we got a little better of a squeeze in price. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll just put this up a little bit higher. So we have a good, well-respected ascending trend line that the price is now going to try to stick above. So we got a nice symmetrical triangle here. Looks pretty good. We got our demand zone, which is going to suck the price closer together. So I think that's a little bit of a higher probability is for the price to come to the downside. So we're looking for a break in the downside there. So we're not really going to do anything until we see a nice break and a retest of that zone. So no real break at this point. We do see a break. Wow, that is a massive move to the downside. All right, so now we're looking for pullbacks to around this zone here, previous levels of support for us to potentially now short. So we're looking for short at this point in time because we have a clear direction to move to the downside. So now let's look for those pullbacks. That is a crazy move of volatility right there. Massive move to the upside, came all the way back down, basically closed where it opened, but we can really clearly see that there's a lot of sell pressure within the market. So we're wanting to see the price come back up to this zone for us to enter a short position. Just let's quickly look at the 4-hour time frame. So we see the initial push to the downside. Very strong. We got to close at this zone. We see a nice level horizontal zone of resistance and support, which is going to give us the potential entry for the short to move back down here. So we're looking for something along the lines of this, where the price is going to come up and retest this previous level of support as a new area of resistance. So let's see if that will come into fruition. Looking for the price to come up a little bit higher. So it's looking pretty good, making those higher highs and higher lows. And it does look like we are testing that previous level of support, which is now a new level of resistance. We do see the price making those higher lows right there, which is pretty good for us to see. Right there. And let's make that green as well. Let's see if it is able to hold this for a little while here. Let's do a couple more. So we're really seeing the price hesitate. This is one high, this is another high, so it's really looking like the price is just squeezing close together, which is exactly what we're looking for. And this is looking like a pretty good short. Let's just get our trade plan out to see what our potential take profit and stop loss and risk reward is going to be. Remember, we are looking to take profits at that demand zone because it is a key zone for the buyers to be located. So overall, still looks like a pretty good trade setup. We got a maybe risk reward of 2.5 or 2, which is pretty good for the take profit. So let's just continue on with the price action. And we're seeing, wow, a lot of volatility come into the market. Still not broken this key descending trend line. And we're waiting for that break before we look to enter. Still holding below it. Not looking to enter just yet. And we want to see that price break and validate that key zone as a new level of resistance. Still not seeing it break. Although we are seeing quite a bit of hesitation here, so we're really looking to see the price break soon if it does break below this ascending support there. So overall, let's look. It looks like it could be breaking. Okay, so this is the initial break. We want to see the pullback, validating it as a new level of resistance before we jump in, but we're looking very, very interested in this particular setup. So we're looking for that pullback. Hopefully it comes. No pullback that came, unfortunately, right here. We were looking for the minor level of a pullback to around this zone here. That's what I was looking for. Unfortunately, we did not get that. So we didn't get triggered into the actual trade. Unfortunately, that didn't give me enough confirmation to enter. So that trade did not actually come through. I was looking to get that small little pullback for me to enter one last time before the major dump to the downside. Unfortunately, it did not occur, so we did not enter it. So that was a little bit unfortunate. That would have been a very quick, nice trade to enter with the buy pressure keeping us above that zone. So let's just see if it comes back. If it does come back here, that could be another entry here, but that was definitely the move I was looking for on the bigger time frame, and I think we just missed it. If it holds around that demand zone, which it looks like it is, yeah, so that move was unfortunately not taken by us because we did not enter. We were looking for a little bit of a stronger pullback to around these zones here, but if you look at the structure of the trade, that's a pretty well-respected structure. We can see the resistance right here turn into a new level of support right here, and then it turns into another level of resistance, giving us a very valid zone on the chart. So we can identify that as a valid zone on the chart. We can use that for the upcoming previous structure there. So overall, that would have been a good move to take. Unfortunately, we didn't get it. But let's now look for a potential entry at these zones here because we've seen in the past that this is a key level of demand. So we are looking for a decent amount of confirmation at these zones. So we want to see consolidation and a potential move up and then potentially a double bounce and then a double bottom. And we're trying to kind of enter on the second bottom. So we got a little bit of time to go before that occurs. And let's just look at the trend lines that we could be drawing. I think the first one would be here. It's a little bit wider on the chart, but that is our first descending trend line that we can identify on the chart. And let's just put a projection on there. So this guy here, like so. So there is our first level of descending resistance that we need to pass in order for the price to confirm its shift in trend. And then we can also have another one from here to this point here, but I think we will wait a little bit before we actually put that on the chart. So we got our first descending zone. We need to pass that in order to confirm that it's going to have a shift in trend, but before that happens, we need to see that double top validating, or double bottom, sorry, validating the area of support. So we're just going to be playing the price action right now, seeing if we are able to get an initial push from the buyers. It does look like we see strong sellers at this current moment. But like always, we don't want to enter on anything. We want to really ensure that we're going to be entering on high probability situations. We do see a nice little descending zone right here, and it does look like we did pop off above the area. Not going to enter off that or anything, but we do see a nice double bottom. Could start to see the price come up a little bit, but we're wanting to see the price come back down and test these zones yet again before we look long, because this for me is not enough confirmation that we have bulls within the market. Just giving a commentary as to what I see while the price action is unraveling. Didn't hold that trend line. Potentially we can move it a little bit higher to respect it a little bit more, but we are seeing those lower highs get respected. So when we do break it, we could have a nice little breakout here. So let's just see which way the price is able to go. Still seeing the price hold below the zone. And then it does look like it could break out soon here if we are able to hold. Holding, retesting, holding, and then we get our, it looks like, breakout. So that is our first initial breakout, it looks like, above the zone. So that's good to see. And then now we want the price to come back down below here before we really look to enter, because this is our double bottom. So let's just talk about flow a little bit on the 4-hour chart, because we want to ensure that we're getting the bulls to enter the price before we look to long. So we see the price trending down, making lower highs and lower lows. This is the recent low. What we want to see is the price respect this low again and hold to make a double bottom. Once we see the double bottom come in, then we have validation that there's going to be potential buyers to push the price back up. So this is our first low. We want to see another low holding this previous low to give us confirmation that this support is going to hold, and it's going to give us an indication of the price moving up. So we got our first low there, which is good to see. And now we want to see that price making a second low before we can enter at a potential low at this point, creating our second low. So let's see if the price is able to come back down, which it made a pretty quick move to the downside. And it looks like it's consolidating a little bit above our zone. And let's see if it's able to make another low. We're testing this key level of descending resistance. So we can see the price come back down here. Not looking to enter just yet. We could see a nice potential short. Very, very small short. Previous level of resistance and support right here. We could get that nice short back down to this range here. That could be a potential play that we could have here. Just a small trade that we could be looking at if we do see the price break the zone and then retest it for a nice level of resistance. Not seeing that right now. So there is a very well-respected support. Very well-respected support. We're not seeing the price break this zone at all. So wow, there's a solid push of volume. Let's look at the 4-hour chart and see what we're able to identify. So we got a major resistance right there. So we don't want to enter just yet because the major resistance is there. We look like we could be breaking the descending zone, but we want to ensure that it's actually going to break the key zone. Let's just bring this to the back. So we want to ensure that it's going to break this key zone before we jump and enter the market. So we want to have a few candles break above the zone. So let's see before that happens if we're able to actually get a few candles to close above this zone. So let's continue on with our price action. Get a few wicks protruding out. We got a nice bullish candle pushing us above the zone. We don't want to enter just yet because that could be a nice wick for us. We see a little pullback. We see the price come in. We see the bulls start to enter the market. For me, this 4-hour is still not broken above the zone yet. Let's do a couple more candles because I'm not entirely looking for the price to I'm not looking to long yet, basically, at this point. So it's at the high here. I'm not seeing a tremendous amount of volume come in. I think we will wait a little bit more. We're seeing that high not hold, and then we're seeing a little double top potentially. And then the double top could confirm, and there we go. So there is a potential fake out. Yeah, we got 2 wicks there. Did not enter, so we're seeing a pullback to validate this zone now. So we can use this zone as a new level of support, so we can make that green, and then we can make this zone visual underprint back, and then we can make this green as well. Not that one. Center back, and this is what I'm looking for, this line right here. So this is now our new level of support. We can see that on the 4-hour chart. So overall, we have now a new level of support and a new level of resistance, which is this is going to be the resistance, and then we have now a new level of support because it's this key zone of descending trendline, which is a previous level of resistance, new level of support. So overall, we're looking to long at this point, but we're staying very patient because we want to ensure that we're getting the highest probability trade at this current point in time. So we see the price broke out, retested. Let's get our little arrow here, or our snip, sorry. So we see the price broke out, and now it's retesting as a new level of support. So we broke out, and now it's testing this new level of support. We want to see it hold here before we make a potential move to the upside. So we're looking for double confirmation. We're looking for double bottoms. We're looking for bullish injection. We're looking for bullish pressure or injections of buy pressure around these zones. Let's just make our previous level of resistance turn into new level of support. We can see right here, it's a key level of demand, and we also see a key level of supply right here. So it's a nice tight consolidation. We're looking for the price to hold these zones. Holding that zone pretty darn well. Let's see if this support zone right here is able to hold, because that would be a pretty good push and then a pullback to validate this zone. We got a nice double bottom, it looks like. We got the one push, and then we got the first injection of buy volume, and then we're getting our second low. And if we're able to break above this little minor resistance high right there, that would confirm that double bottom entry, and I would look to enter at that zone. Seeing more sell pressure come in, so that is now invalid. I'm not looking to enter at this point. The second entrance is going to be down here. We also want to see that double bottom come into play because on the 4-hour, we have broken above this zone, and now we're retesting. We can even just make it a little less confusing by just putting this descending zone down here now, because this was our initial zone, and now we're moving it back down here because we have tested this zone, this zone, this zone, and this zone, and now we're looking to hold as a new level of support. So let's see what the initial move does. So we got our first push of buy volume right here. Let's quickly look on the 4 hour to see if it's able to hold. Now we can just move this a little bit higher up like so. And if we just move this a little bit, it could look like it's pretty well in place like so. And then obviously we need the projection there just so we have some wiggle room to play like so. So that is our support. It does look all right. I still think that that could look like a pretty good entry for us. We failed at this one. We're looking for a confirmation of a shift in trend here, and that would be a double bottom and a breakout of the resistance from the double bottom. So let's continue to see what we're able to find. So we're not seeing the same low appear, and now we're seeing some higher highs and higher lows. So that was a pretty good bounce off that resistance, or off that support, sorry. We're looking now to potentially enter long because our breakout pullback, that could have been the touch on the pullback looking at the 4 hour. So that does look pretty solid, and we are still within a consolidation. So once we break above the consolidation, then we could look like we are potentially moving back towards the upside. So talking about the flow of the market right now. So we were looking for a push past, a pullback, validating it as a new level of support, and then breaking to new highs. That was the overall structure that we're looking for. Here's the break, here's the pullback, looking for the price to hold this new level of support, and it looks like it is on the 1 hour. We're looking for a move to the upside, so we're looking for a break in resistance, hold a new support, and then we're looking to break another level of resistance. So right now, we've broken the resistance, held this key zone of confluence right here as a new level of support. So right here is this key zone of confluence. Let's just make that bright green, make it very green, because we know that this is a zone of confluence for the buyers. If the price comes back here and holds, it's looking really good. If the price breaks key levels of resistances and holds it as new levels of support, it's also looking pretty good. We're looking to long at this point in time. If we get a few losses while we're trying to capture that nice entry to the upside, so be it. The risk reward that we're going to be taking is worth it for sure. So let's continue on. We saw a little rejection there. We're seeing the price come back to our demand zone and hold. It's looking pretty good. We really want to see a potential low back down to this zone here. And then we're going to look to enter with that double bottom. Double bottom. All right, so I'm just going to take this off right now. So we see the price come back here, and once we see the buyers come back in, we see our first level of injection of buy volume. Let's see if we get another level. So this is 2 injections of buy volume. We see 1 and 2, and then once we see the price get over this minor level there, it's going to look really good. Still, the price is not going towards its low there, so we're still seeing the double bottom. That's looking pretty good. And wow, big rejection from the buyers there. That's looking pretty healthy. And we see this double bottom here. So ideally, we're looking now to break this resistance before we enter, because we see a big double bottom at this point. And then ideally what we want to see is the break and then retest of the resistance of the double bottom. So this is the double bottom. We're looking to get a price to break, retest this zone, previous resistance equals new support, and then we're looking to long. So that is the point that we're looking to enter at this current state of the market. So then we have a high probability chance of making it to the upside. So let's see if this holds. This bottom is looking like it's holding. Really great to see. Let's see if it continues to hold. That does not look ideal for the double bottom there. Let's see if it continues. Not looking awesome. It definitely made a new low, so I think that is going to have a bit of a challenge for the actual entry. If we're able to still hold above that zone, that could be an extended low, but I think at this point, this trade is a little bit terminated, and we're going to have to reevaluate the current market conditions. So I think that's the overall outlook, I think, for this trade. We didn't enter here because we didn't see that double bottom. So it's not a bad thing we didn't enter. Ideally, we will have to assess this again because we didn't get exactly what we wanted. We didn't enter. We didn't see what we were looking for. So we're just not looking to enter at this point in time. So let's reassess the market conditions to really see what we're able to identify. So it looks like a potential another bigger time frame double bottom. So we see our first bottom here came up to test this very, very strong level of resistance right here. And now we are basically coming back down to the lows where we could test these lows here. So now that we have that in mind, let's look on the 1 hour. But before, I just want to draw in my very nice time frame descending trend line, which is going to be right around here. So we're looking for a similar type of structure. This is around 25 minutes, not too long. We're looking for a very similar type of structure here. So let's continue on getting our descending trend line, connecting the lower highs here. I think I'm going to put mine right at the top there. So we have that swing high, and then we have our other swing high, and we have to ensure that we're capturing the highs of the wick there. So let's get our projection zone and move it all down like so. So we are basically creating a descending triangle sort of, where we have a horizontal zone of support. This is the horizontal zone of support where there's lots of buyers pushing the price up, and then we see a descending zone keeping the price making lower highs, squeezing the price closer to the apex. And what we're looking for is the price to hold this support yet again right here, because it's held before, not once, but twice. So then this is going to be a third time the price is going to hold a level of support. So that is the structure that we're looking to attain for this current trade. So let's just look on the 4 hour and see what we're able to find. I don't think entries short here would be out of the question. I think that might be a good possible trade, just looking at the move that we could potentially see, but we need to see the price basically enter right at the gray area there. So let's see if the price is able to get to that level. Not seeing it yet. We're seeing the price just consolidate kind of lower within our demand zone. Wow, that was a big move. Okay, so this could be a nice little short here, because coming back down, I think the apex could be a little bit here more. But I think I'm just going to wait it out and see what happens. I will switch over to the 1 hour chart to see what's happening with a little bit more detail. But let's look at where we could see a descending trend line that I'm able to connect. There was one right there. Theoretically, I could have entered short there if I was looking at the 1 hour chart descending trend line, but not going to fuss, going to just stick with the overall plan. We were looking for that double bottom, and I still think we could see a little low there. I don't want to enter prematurely, but this could be a nice little short if we get, because we are touching that zone of confluence. If we get a double top and then a break in the resistance, hold of new break of support, hold of new resistance, that could look like a potential little entry there. So we got our double top. Okay, so this is definitely not a short at this point, because we broke our key level of resistance, which is right here. So now we're looking for longs because we broke that zone. We want to retest this area as a new level of support. So let's talk about what we could look on, or what we could see on the 1 hour chart. We're looking for a pullback to around this zone, validating it as a new level of support before looking to long. So let's see if we get that nice pullback. We got our first pullback here. Wow, that was a massive bearish move. That's a lot of sell pressure at that area. I don't know if I'm wanting to enter short or enter long at this point, because that was such a strong move. We definitely need to see a lot of buy pressure, or at least double confirmation, triple confirmation that there's going to be buy pressure within this area. And let's see if that's a lot of buy pressure. That's our first confirmation. We see a decent amount of buy pressure. That is our second confirmation. And we are looking like there is a lot of buy pressure. There's a lot of buy pressure pushing the price back up there. So it's looking like we could see a lot of buy pressure around this zone. So we see we broke the zone, retested it as a new level of support. We tested it once, and it looks like we're retesting again. I think an entry around these levels would be a pretty decent entry with a stop loss below the low, which is around right here. I think probably somewhere around there would be a better situation. We'd have a stop loss. Our first take profit is going to be at this new level of resistance right around here. And then we're going to look for our second take profit, probably is going to be around this zone here, a risk reward of 4.6, something along that. And then our last level of take profit is going to be at basically at the start of the key level of supply, which is going to be a very solid risk reward, 6.4. We might want to adjust the entry and the stop loss because we're not going to enter just yet, but we are looking to enter at around the pullback of this zone, because on the 4 hour we can see it's a very, very well respected zone on the chart. And just talking about flow, we can really clearly see that it's now in an uptrend. We've had a massive move to the upside. This is the consolidation. We started making lower lows and lower highs. This is a lower high, 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 and we're making lower lows. This is a low, this is a low, this is not a lower low. We made a lower low and a lower low. So we've been making lower lows and lower highs to start off, starting the consolidation. And then we saw a shift where the price then made higher highs and higher lows. This is that shift right here. So this is the initial push. We got a retest creating lower lows and lower highs. And now it looks like we're making higher highs and higher lows. That is what we're going to try to do. So this is a low. We're thinking this is going to be a higher low. This is a higher high than this. And we're expecting to make a higher high and then a higher low and then start the momentum to the upside. And that's what we're trying to capture, is a shift from lower lows and lower highs to higher highs and higher lows. So this is, hopefully we are going to have a higher low, and this is going to hold this current support. So that's what we're looking to do. And ideally we want to enter at these lows here. And it does look like we had a pretty strong bullish candle there. I think we could enter a small feeler position at this point, but we are ideally looking to enter within the gray zone right here towards a lower half. So we see one bullish push right here, and then hopefully we could enter at the second low of the zone right here. So I think at this point in time, because we're very interested, it may be smart to add a small feeler position. But in this example, we're hoping to get another low and to get an entry within the gray area, so we can have a risk reward that is very favorable, and so we can have a take profit here at the first level of support. So we're going to patiently wait for that second zone to get hit, which is somewhere around there, so we can complete our double bottom pattern, which is going to be like this. And then this is our first bottom right here. And then we're looking for another bottom to hold, and then we'll look to enter when that double bottom holds. So let's continue and see if we're able to get that double bottom to hold. So there's that. This is the second bottom. It doesn't have to be perfectly at the low. It is looking like it's going to be pretty low at this point. And let's see if we are able to hold the price. Does not look like it's able to hold. We're getting a low. Let's look at the 4-hour chart and see if that holds. So that did hold below the zone. I'm looking at it, definitely a lot less of a bullish sentiment. But looking on the 6-hour chart, we do see the wicks are still below the zone. So we do have bullish pressure still holding the price above this area on the bigger aspect and in the overall time frame. So I'm still looking to potentially long here, but at this point in time, I would need to see the price start to make higher highs and higher lows before we look to enter, because right now we're making a low, a lower low, a lower low, and this could be another lower low. So we're going to have a lot more patience with it. We're making lower lows and lower highs, and we want to see the price making higher highs and higher lows before we look to enter. So now let's just look at the 1-hour chart and discuss where we would like to enter while the price is continuing its momentum. So we're seeing a little bit hold from the previous level of support and previous level of resistance, and not seeing a whole lot of movement. So we saw a little break above. We're looking to see higher highs and higher lows. So we're seeing a little push upwards, starting to see that bounce. Looking at the 6-hour, we do see that bounce there, and we could see still the price to trend up. So overall, I still think this is the pullback, and the push is still waiting to come, and we're just looking for those higher highs and higher lows to start to emerge. We do see the higher highs and higher lows right here, but this key level of resistance zone is definitely something that I want to watch out for. So we're really starting to see the bulls come in and make those higher highs and higher lows. We see a higher high here, and this could be the higher low come in. And I think what I'm going to do is we see higher highs and higher lows right here. This could be the higher high. Let's just break this down a little bit to see what we're able to identify. So we see this trend line right here, the ascending trend line. Let's make it green, and let's make it a little bit more visible and a little bit more clear. Really picking up exactly what we're able to find on the 1-hour chart. So there is our uptrend. Let's get our projection zone like so. So this is our uptrend. Looks pretty darn good for now. An entrance at this point around here would be really solid, because we get 1, 2, 3 touches. And when on an uptrend, this is also, let's just take this little zone out and just talk about the minor zone that we're able to identify. So we see a zone right, oh, why didn't that click? So we see a zone right here. Let's not make it bright green, and let's make it white. So we see a zone right here, previous level of support and resistance, which is creating our zone of confluence, which is going to be right around here. So it's looking pretty good. I think this could be the low here, where we're getting a ascending triangle right here, and then we got a break and then a pullback to validate it as a new level of support. I think a pullback a little bit stronger would be better. So let's do a couple more candles here. And we're still seeing the price hold above the zone. There's our pullback. Let's see if the price is able to hold. Strong wick to push the price right back up. And we are getting our bulls to come in and enter the market. So there is the bulls. So I think at this point, I'm going to enter. I know I should have potentially entered here, but we are finally at a point where I think the bulls are able to really push the price above the zone. And let's just look at the bigger time frames. We got to push an exhaustion. Let's just delete, or let's just move this away for now, and just talk about the market flow on the 4 hour, and then going back to the 1 hour where our entrance will be. So we got to push, we got to pull back. Yes, we did break this slightly, but looking in the overall bigger time frame, 6 hour, 12 hour, we saw that it was a push, pull back, and then we're looking to capture this next push to the upside. That was the overall plan for our trade. We got to push, a pullback, and now we're looking like the bulls are coming back and entering the market on the 4 hour. And on the hour chart, what can we see? Well, this looks very, very odd. I don't know why that's there. Oh, okay, I see. So we were waiting for the price to hold and respect this third touch of the support. We saw 1, 2, 3. We saw an anchor point. Let's just get our arrow to really, really discuss exactly what we're looking for with the entrance criteria that we wanted. So we were looking for the third touch of the higher low. So this is a low. We're waiting for the price to make higher highs and higher lows. This is a low, this is a higher low, this is a higher high than this one. This is a higher low, this is a higher high, this is a higher low, this is a higher high, this is a higher low. So we're now in a bullish market. We're making higher highs and higher lows. We broke a key level of resistance, and we were looking to see the price respect it as a new level of support. So remember, resistance, support, resistance, resistance. We were waiting for the price to break above the resistance, retest it as a new level of support. That's exactly what we saw here, and we were waiting patiently to see the bulls come back into play. Yes, that candle right there did signify that there was a lot of bullish pressure, but I personally wanted to see a little bit more confirmation, and this candle right here gave me enough confirmation that the bulls are present in the area for me to enter. So let's just say I enter at that 1 hour closure. I'm going to have my stop loss below the previous low, which is right here. This was the low that we entered on to get the initial momentum, and then this is going to be the low that we're going to be risking our trade off of. So we're going to have our stop loss below this market structure right here, which is going to be about 7.9% of a risk. And then let's look at the 4 hour time frame to see a potential risk reward of 2. Let's look at the first level of take profit, which is going to be right here. So that's our first take profit of a risk reward of 2 to 1. And then our second take profit is going to be at that supply zone, which is going to be a risk reward of around 2.5. I think we're going to just have it at the high there. So our next level of take profit is going to be around 2.85. Let's go back to the 1 hour chart. I think we could minimize this a little bit more. So now our risk is at basically 7. And then looking back at the 4 hour, let's just see where that first level of take profit is. I think we can make it down to around 2, which is going to be right at those highs there. That's our first take profit at just under, or let's just say 2 risk reward. And then we're going to have the second take profit at a risk reward of 3.18. I think going beyond that, we could see the price make a little bit higher, but I'm just going to stick with those 2 highs right there. So we saw the pullback and then a push, and then I'm going to basically take profits at the previous highs there. So overall, it does look pretty good. On the 1 hour chart, we're trying to limit risk as much as possible while capturing the breakout, and I don't want to get wicked out too early. So my little 4 hour support zone is going to be right here. We can see that at the 4 hour mark. We can just draw that out a little bit further. So that's going to be the potential support bounce if we do get a pullback. And I still want to ensure that I have enough room for the price to hold this area if I do start to see a little bit of a pullback re-enter this zone. So that's the trade. I'm going to enter right there. I have my stop loss. I have my take profits all set. And now it's just waiting to see what the price actually does. overall, I'm pretty happy with it. We're starting to see the higher highs and higher lows. I caught the initial push to the upside. It wasn't ideal. Obviously, the lower risk, the better, and having a 7% risk is not ideal, but you got to look at the risk reward. That's the number one thing that we got to look at as traders, not the amount of risk we're losing, because it's all in relation to the risk reward. So now that we got our entry, we can let's just continue and see what the price action does. And let's just go ahead and see what it does. Initial push. We're getting our initial resistance from the supply zone, which is going to be this zone right here. Looks like we are breaking above it, which does look pretty good. And let's see what the price continues to do. We got our pullback, very strong pullback, hitting the entry point, but our stop loss is all the way down here. Let's see what the price is able to do. We are holding at this point in time. We got a strong level of sellers for the second time hitting that zone below our entrance, holding our key level of support. And there is that bullish push. I don't think we hit our first take profit. No, we unfortunately did not hit our first take profit yet, but we got our very strong push to the upside, which is really good to see. At this point, I definitely move my entrance to above, or basically at break even. I normally would move my stop loss to break even once I hit my first level of take profit. It hasn't been hit yet, but at this point, I'm just going to move my stop loss, or my stop loss right to break even, because it's so close. I think in this next couple of candles, we will be able to hit it, and we also have a new level of supply, which is going to, or new level of support, which was a previous level of supply, which is this zone right here. So this is a zone that if we do pull back, I'll be waiting for this zone to be supported. I'm not going to put that there. But overall, looks pretty good. We haven't hit our take profit zone yet, and there is our first take profit zone hit right there. We can see that it did hit our first take profit zone, so we're just going to be patiently waiting until our second take profit gets hit. And we can even put a little array for our stop loss, and what we're going to do is put our stop loss, we're going to put our stop loss below the zone like so. We're going to get rid of some of the entrance requirements that we saw here, and we're just going to be using that particular stop loss as our imaginary stop loss within this paper trading session. So we're seeing the price push up, hit our supply zone. So we are looking for the take profit to get hit right there. And we see a bit of hesitation. Let's move our stop loss up. Let's look at the previous zones that we've been able to respect. We see a strong level of support right here. So that is going to be the zone that we're going to use to potentially have a stop loss below it. So I'm going to put my stop loss just below here. So now we are guaranteed profits no matter what, because we've already put our stop loss above profit. Let's just make that straight. And then we're going to use this area as a level of support if the price does end up coming back down. So let's wait for our last take profit to get hit. It looks very, very close to getting hit. Unfortunately, we have not got that take profit to get hit yet, but let's just see what it's able to do. Very, very close. I think at this point, if we see some hesitation, it might be best to just take it at this point, because we're not missing a whole lot. But let's just do a couple more candles, because we just could see a wick hit that zone. So there is our take profit. Now the trade is complete. I have a total, let's say, average of 18% with a risk reward. I don't exactly know what it was. Our stop loss was around here. I think it was like 3.5 or something along the lines of that. So overall, great trade. We can see it's moving up a lot more. But not gonna go beyond further of this. We did exactly what we wanted to do, and when we came here, we were looking for the double bottom. So what were we looking for before even entering? We were looking for the double bottom like so. We were looking for the double bottom to push, find that level of resistance right here, turn into a new support. There was a little bit of fudging around with the actual breakout. We were very, very patient. We stuck with our plan. This was a challenging part, definitely, where we had to be very patient. We were waiting for confirmation multiple times. We initially broke our key level of support we were wanting to hold, but we got a little bit late of an entry, but we wanted to ensure that we were actually going to have a break to the upside, and we weren't going to have a fake out and then push back down. We wanted to really, really ensure that we were getting the best possible entry, and that's where we picked for our entry level. We stuck with it. We were very patient. Even though the price came back and retested our entry, we were very patient and did not want to exit the trade prematurely. So overall, that was a trade, double bottom, retest a valid new level of support, and then push off to hit our take profits. And that's exactly what we saw, a curl and the continuation. So very happy with that trade. And I don't want these to get too long. It's already been 45 minutes. So I hope you got something out of this. This live trading session is definitely quite a long time to sit through it from start to finish, but I think this is a really, really great way to learn how to trade, because you not only see why we're entering at these places we're entering, but we're also seeing why we're not entering at some of these entrance opportunities, because we're not seeing the confirmation we need to actually enter the market. And it takes a long time to really understand what's the best possible entry, because it's easy to understand the overall market. Okay, it's going to go double bottom. We just want it to break the resistance, respect it as a new level of support, and then enter. But there's so many things that are happening just with this breakout. We tried to enter a couple times, but we couldn't find that perfect opportunity. We waited and we waited and waited, and it takes a long time to understand what the best possible opportunity is. And I hope these upcoming videos will help you understand why we're looking for certain things in the price action before we look to enter. We're not just setting a price limit here and saying, okay, when the price gets to here, we're going to enter. We need confirmation. We need either bearish or bullish pressure getting injected into the market. We need to see those things play out before we look to enter. And that's what these videos will hopefully allow you to see. Is it's not just the price action pattern, but it is the entry requirements that are needed in order to take us into the trade. Like, for example, this short right here at the beginning of the video, we did not enter because we were waiting for a double confirmation like so, where we have one test and then two tests, and then we look to enter on the second test. Unfortunately, we did not see that, so we didn't enter, and we lost out on this great short opportunity that we were looking at. And unfortunately, if you're looking for confirmation, if you're looking for high probability setups, that will happen. You will enter some trades, and you will not be able to enter some trades because you are waiting a little too long, and that's just the name of the game. You will never be able to in my opinion, be a perfect trader. Looking back, you'll always think, why didn't I enter here? Why did I enter here? And you can do the best you can. You can follow your system and your strategy to a T, but there's always going to be things you can improve. There's always going to be things that you could be better at, be working on, and the struggle never ceases to stop. But that's what the good saying that Ray Dalio said, struggle well, basically. And that's, I take that with a very close-hearted approach to it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll do another one, but I think we'll do them one by one, because having multiple trades within one video is a little bit long. So I'll look for a trade setup, play it out candle by candle on the hour and 4 hour chart, and you can see what we could do in that particular situation. So I really hope you enjoyed this video and these types of videos. So I think we're going to do more of these. We'll trade, and then we'll kind of recap what happened at the end of the video, discussing why we did what we did, where we entered, if it was a loss, why we took the trade, where we put our stop losses, where we put our take profits, all that stuff. And I hope this provides value for people and provides insight as to how we trade here at Performante, because we don't use indicators. We don't use real, even tools really, where we don't use fibs that much. We use no indicators. We just use simple level of support and resistance, identifying key shifts in the market, and also looking at volume, looking at, if we're short-term trading, we look at the order book and the bid and asks in the market, as well as the order book and time and sales, I should say. But when you're looking at swing trades, hour chart, 4 hour chart, we're not really looking at that. We're just looking at the volume down here, and we're looking at the price action, which is the main thing that we want to be looking at. So this is the completion of this video. I hope you like it. We'll probably do another one today. And until next time, happy trading. We hope you have a great rest of the week trading, and a very profitable one at that.